Hold on, be patient. I'm just figuring out which album artwork I should be using. This should only take a few seconds. Is this it? No, I think they changed that. How about this? Change that too? Okay. Third time's a charm. I mean, let's just go with it. Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing the 1975 and their record, Notes on a Conditional Form. Honestly, the easiest title I've had to remember by them since their self-titled debut. Nice. Notes on a Conditional Form, or Notes because I'm too lazy to say its full title for the rest of this review, is the fourth studio album from the English alt-rock and synth-pop band, among a slew of other genres. This album, I don't even want to bother listing off the styles. And that might be the point of this record. It's the most ambitious from the group yet, both sonically and stylistically. It also follows up the critically acclaimed A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. It had a great number of tracks, was one of the best albums of 2018, even though I shamefully never got around to reviewing it. And as much as the previous album was a delight, an inquiry, a brief inquiry that is, this might be the extended inquiry counterpart. Notes is long, okay? It's 22 songs, it's an hour and 20 minutes or so of new music, or at least released as studio versions of songs. Some of these have been previously performed live or teased through Instagram. But hey, as many delays later, we're finally here. It's the second installment in the Music for Cars series that frontman Matty Healy has been promoting for years. And the wait, well, some fans might not appreciate it, and I guess we can all agree that the rollout wasn't particularly amazing. But I figure more people will fixate on the sheer length of this album, among other issues I'll touch on later. Just the length part is what I'm focusing on now because, yeah, long albums, I get it. They can be a chore to get through. But remember though, the 2016 album from the 1975, that was only a few minutes shy of what we have here. And that 2016 album was one of my favorite of the year, if not one of my favorites of the entire 2010s. So length, not really the biggest deal to me. Well, if it's not length, it's got to be something else that's really bothering these critics here. I don't know. Maybe it's the genre jumping and all that stuff. Yeah, it probably is that. But not without the ambition from the 1975. If they're gonna strike out, they're gonna strike out swinging. Matty Healy and the group mean business when they start on the intro track here, which they switched up their shtick of recreating the regular band title track that opens all their other albums. So yeah, this intro is an ecological statement. A lot of things talked about here I do agree with. I just wish it was said in half the time and without the condescending and pretentious language. I guess this is the calm way of asking people to wake up. I mean, I could just focus on the dreamy instrumental, which is kind of nice to listen to. Now, if you like the soothing, rather unconventional opener, we have the opposite tone on the next track, which is basically a contrast and the demanding way to wake people on the song People. Honestly, didn't expect the 1975 to pull off punk so well, but they did with one of Matty Healy's best vocal performances. Other best moments on this record appear on a good number of tracks, which I will now go through. The birthday song is slow, catchy, and it doesn't even have a chorus. We have slide guitar on there, and yes, I am avoiding the lyrics. Me and You Together song is a true highlight in the band's discography. From the treble on the guitar to the infectious bass line, this will be a classic for the band years to come. With Me and You Together song, I also want to point out how this song is like a coming-of-age track sonically. It's like the 1975 are playing the part of a 90s band. If this song were on a television series like Boy Meets World, I wouldn't notice. Then there's the track I Think There's Something You Should Know, which has some of the glitchy and techno production on this album, subtler this time round with a focus on completing the tune with a defined structure, verse, chorus, etc. However, when we're talking about the cut Nothing Revealed, Everything Denied, this is one of the boldest risks that the 1975 have made, and it pays off. There's gospel on here, there's trap, one thing's for certain, it's anthemic as hell without sounding preachy. Lyrically, it responds to Love It If We Made It, and it samples If I Believe You, two of my favorite the 1975 songs. So yeah, Nothing Revealed, Everything Denied, it's up there with my favorites. Tonight, I Wish I Was Your Boy. Wow, a great song. Understated too, probably will be underrated over time. Another keyboard intro like the previous track, more vocal manipulations and auto-tune. It has a slick and groovy tune. Love it. The song Shiny Collarbone takes a sonic detour among many other sonic detours on this album. Sounds like a trap instrumental that should be on a Drake record, and I say that in a good sense this time, not like with his latest project. Then the listeners are hit with what might be the crown jewel of notes. If you're too shy, let me know. I think it can be easily said this is up there with the 1975's greatest work to date. Just the introspective and expanded intro. I picture this song, them opening live at a show, and it's gonna sound so amazing. Gets the crowd hyped up. Oh, how I wish I could be there. I'm also pleasantly surprised by the FKA Twigs backup vocal credits on this track too. Speed ahead to the end of notes, we get a track Don't Worry, which should have been the closer. It sounds more like the conclusion to a long and winding journey. Tim Healy, Maddie's father, actually wrote this song. He sings and plays piano on part of the recording, and it's an emotional and lullaby type ending that I really get on board with. And then of course we have Guys, which is tagged onto the end of here, which just kind of comes out of nowhere. I wish it was put somewhere else in its runtime. Either way, I do side with Maddie's sentiments that he makes towards his band members. Honestly, one of the better moments on this record, even if it was one of the simpler cuts written. Now, with the elephant still in the room, this is 22 tracks long. Not all of them are going to hit hard. I wasn't expecting that, nor would I ask Maddie Healy to write 22 different versions of It's Not Living If It's Not With You. There are fine moments on this record. I'm just like, okay, I'm not really pulled one way or another emotionally. I feel that way with a handful of cuts, for example, Frail State of Mind, then Because She Goes, Jesus Christ, 2005, God Bless America, and Playing on My Mind. Just these examples alone, yeah, we're not getting the same sense of sharp songwriting like we've gotten from the 1975 in the past when they've talked about similar subjects of drugs, anxiety, social media. I still like the Phoebe Bridgers feature, the straightforward songwriting. I just don't get as much out of them emotionally. Then there are some tracks that ended up being better than what I could have expected based on the titles. You look at the track list, Streaming was one of those songs. It just looked like it was going to be a pretentious statement in the making from Maddie Healy. Instead, it ended up being a tranquil and serene intro to the next song, so no harm done there. Having No Head was my favorite instrumental from this album. It's more up the 1975's avenue of instrumentals. The song title references the second album instrumental, Lost My Head. It's another one of those coming of age moments on this record here. I can definitely hear the innocence in the keys at the beginning before it seamlessly transitions and explodes with a house-inspired beat drop before bringing it back to the keys that open the track. Also, yeah, there are a handful of skippable moments on this album. There are 5 skippables that I counted. 1, the 1975, the opening track, already talked about it. 2, yeah, I know, this one was a glitchy kind of electronic segue. Could go without the hook. Feels like it's just padding the runtime. 3, Roadkill. This one kind of disappointed me. I feel like it would have been a fine release on its own as like this one-off track. But in the context of the record, it just stands out like a sore thumb. You play this right after the previous cut and you're just going to be like, oh, what is this? Are we at a country bar here? Honestly, it just makes me feel like I accidentally switched albums. Moving on to the 4th skippable song on here, in my opinion, What Should I Say? This has some Bon Iver style vocals. Again, some backup vocals from FKA Twigs. There's a decent beat on this one. That's about it. Mainly, this is just the part of the record that drags the most. Tracks 17 to 20. And finally, the 5th skippable moment on this record is Bagsy Not In Net, which I had to look up. It's a British slang term for saying that you don't want to be in net while you play soccer. Kind of like saying not it by touching your nose. Whatever I'm saying, it doesn't matter. This song essentially is just regurgitating the same thing that we already heard with the end Music for Cars song at the beginning of this album. Wrapping up my overall thoughts for Notes on a Conditional Form. Yeah, 5 songs too long. I will again say that. And with that, I would just add that the interludes that were put on here, I feel like they're just meant to cover up for the huge stylistic jumps. Unfortunately, the lyrics are also not much to write home about either. They're kind of all over the place. The 1975 are saying less than ever with their lyrics in terms of like repeating themselves, but also they're truly underwhelming at some points of this record. Still though, this is the most ambitious record from the group to date, and it continues to leave leave clues and essentially be fan service for the biggest of their fans. All in all, this is a decent album that could have been great. I think it's settled for decent to good. Yeah, it's not the most cohesive thing in the world. It still is good at its peaks. It tries very hard to be off the beaten path though. And based on those last few statements, you can tell that I'm not trying to praise everything that this band has to put out. It's funny, if this were like a Drake album, I feel like I would be ripping it to shreds for just being so long and scatterbrained. Honestly, I did enjoy this record. Take my score with a grain of salt. I'm still making the recommendation for this album, but just like its title notes, on a conditional form, there is a condition to it. Maybe be a hardcore fan of the 1975, but even then, I still can't guarantee that this will be a fun-filled experience. It might be best to check out the singles to get a taste before spinning the entire thing. If you happen to listen to the entire thing, make a movie night out of it, because yeah, it will play like a movie. Strap in for the full experience of the excitement, some dull moments, and a somewhat anticlimactic ending. So yeah, 6 out of 10. It is a lukewarm album for me, but I do enjoy half, if not more than half of the album. Just wish I could get rid of some songs. A little disappointed with this, but not as bad as what people are saying. Anyways, sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of this music. Agree or disagree. I'm here to engage with you guys. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. I'd appreciate that very much. As always, thanks for watching, and have a rockin' day.